Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis is a senior fellow at Defense Priorities, and he joins us now. So as Greg was saying, Hamas is vowing that it's going to be stronger than ever. They said in a statement, quote, "It seems that Israel believes that killing our leaders means the end of our movement and the struggle of the Palestinian people. Yes, it's very painful and distressing to lose beloved people, especially extraordinary leaders like ours. But what we are sure of is that we are eventually victorious. This is the outcome for all people who fight for their liberty." And then Netanyahu, the other hand, is vowing to continue the war. Listen to what he said.
Well, this is not the end of the war in Gaza. It's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages.
So, Dan, where is this conflict now in your estimation, and where is it headed?
Well, it's where it's been for a long time, and there is no end in sight on any exit ramp that I can see. And for the main reason that you see both sides are still hardcore on their side, on their views. Nobody on the Israeli side is willing to give anything to the Hamas side. They still want to destroy Hamas. And then the Hamas has said, we're not just going to give up now because we lost our leader. They're designed to do that. They're designed to replace leaders and go on. I mean, when he was, Sinwar was fighting on the front, he certainly knew that he could die at any time. And these organizations are designed so that they already have a succession plan in place, probably 2 or 3 deep. So I imagine that's going to go on. Now, it's also important to point out militarily, Hamas is just absolutely devastated beyond belief, and the capabilities that they had prior to October 7th have been shattered. That said, though, it is ultimately a resistance movement, and nothing has broken their spirit so far, and we can expect them to continue to resist what they view as a bloody occupation.
Yeah, they somehow seem to keep firing rockets into Israel as well. Big push by this administration in the wake of the killing of Sinwar for a ceasefire. Listen to what the Secretary of Defense said.
Sinwar's death also provides an extraordinary opportunity to achieve a lasting ceasefire, to end this awful war, and to rush humanitarian aid into Gaza. Our forces in the region stand ready to assist in Israel's defense, to deter aggression, and to reduce the risk of all-out war.
Yeah, but that would require the cooperation of Hamas. And up until now, they haven't shown a whole lot of impetus toward reaching a ceasefire that Israel can live with.
Well, yeah, and you see the hard positions. I mean, that's a made-for-TV comment there from the Secretary of Defense. There's no opportunity here because Israel is not willing to meet the core requirement for the Hamas side, which is the withdrawal of all forces from the Gaza Strip, and the Israelis are not willing to give in on their core issue, which is the release of all the hostages first. So both sides are dug in, and the war is going to continue on. Now, the bigger issue is he alluded to there, and you showed at the top of this show that President Biden apparently knows when Israel is going to launch its next strike against Iran. So this thing could expand beyond the borders pretty quick.
Yeah, and in terms of a ceasefire, we talked with Michael Oren, the former Israeli ambassador to the United States, yesterday, and he said that this idea of a ceasefire might seem easy to some people, but it's a lot harder than that because who knows what's going to happen in the wake of Sinwar, that Hamas could become even more militant. Listen to what he said.
Well, we can't be overly sanguine. Here's the rub. We know that when we eliminated Hassan Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, and then eliminated the 2 people who replaced him, it didn't change Hezbollah's policy at all. In fact, Hezbollah fired 300 rockets at the Galilee just today. So we don't know who's going to replace Sinwar. It could be someone who's actually more radical than he is. We have to be prepared for that opportunity too, for that possibility as well.
I mean, there's an old saying, better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Now, Israel couldn't leave Sinwar in place. I mean, clearly, he was a bad dude, and Israel felt that he really needed to be taken out. But, I mean, who's next? If people talk about Khaled Mashal, he's somewhat of a known quantity. He's not even in Gaza. He's in Qatar. But we don't know who's next in line.
Well, yeah, and obviously Israel had no choice whatsoever. I mean, he was the architect of the 10-7 attack, and by all rights deserved to meet his just end, which he did. But the bigger issue is then what? And, we've seen it with our own experience with Zarqawi that was killed, head of al-Qaeda in Iraq in 2005. He was killed, and then that led right to someone more radical, and you had ISIS. Then we killed the leader of ISIS. He was replaced, of course, bin Laden, et cetera. It gets rid of the group, the organization, because it's a resistance group at its core. And until somebody either changes the conditions on the ground that led to the rise, or they literally kill everyone, which in my view is not even possible, there's going to have to be some accommodations, and both sides are going to eventually have to do something they don't want, or the fighting will just drag on indefinitely.
Well, there's no sign that that's going to happen anytime soon, despite what this administration would like to see happen. Dan, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a good weekend.